Hey everyone, Brian Von Vie here, back at it again with another set of D&D stories. This time we're continuing a set of stories that I actually really liked. What NPC did you make on a whim and turned out to be your favorite, part 2. I have one. It was a random old guard walking alone down a path towards the town the party was heading to. He was made to be as normal as humanly possible. He was a guard that had recently retired and was on his way home for his granddaughter's birthday. The party stuck with him for a while. At one point, as they were heading through the last bit of forest before the town, they were attacked by wolves. The party each took 1 or 2 down after some combat. They turn around to see the old man carrying 2 decapitated wolves with another behind him, cut in half from head to tail. The party was shocked until the old man said,
Stupid dogs, stupid adventurers, can't even keep a single forest clear."
The party, after beating one of the big bad evil guy's main generals, went back to the town to see it under repair. While they were away, the main big bad evil guy had attacked the place. The party immediately goes looking for the old man. They find him, nearly dead, in the local hospital after he had protected an orphanage. The next session was the party going out to look for the rare medical plant needed to heal him and the hunt for his granddaughter that was kidnapped. On the final session, they headed for the big bad evil guy. They find many corpses as they approached its chamber, with the granddaughter being one of them. They went in and started fighting. Once the big bad evil guy, a demon king I think, was badly hurt, it tried to escape. It was stopped at the door by the old man, decapitated him with his cursed sword that had been unknowingly given to him by the party. That old man has reappeared in multiple games. They never even asked for his name, only to be known as the Old Man of Decapitation, due to the habit that he liked to decapitate his enemies. I want to pronounce this right, so Agatha Rima, one of the two, or Aggie for short. One of my players was playing a wild magic sorcerer, and we like to make up our own wild magic surges. For story reasons I won't go into right now, I had his wild magic summoning random people and creatures a lot. One time when I proceed a wild magic surge from him, he rolled something in the middle. Like a 50 or something, it doesn't matter, so I summoned a random elvish civilian woman. I described her as being somewhat pretty, looking to be in her late 20s, though reminded the players that elves live much longer than other races and that she was likely much older than that. She was obviously confused at first, but also oddly intrigued by the situation in front of her. I had her introduce herself, the players introduced themselves and apologized for summoning her, and that it wasn't on purpose. They wanted to bring her back home, but it just so happened to be in the opposite direction from where they were going. I rolled to see where she was from, and it just happened that way. Aggie didn't seem to be too bothered by this, and stated that she would just travel with them for a little bit until they were going back that way again. It was an interesting diversion to her normal, boring everyday life after all. She was a non-combatant, but surprisingly knowledgeable about many things and skilled at various utility magics, being able to cast invisibility to keep herself safe and other things. I had initially just wanted her to be a random middle-aged elven woman who has a few hundred years of wisdom under her belt. I had her be somewhat aloof and kind of vague about her past and exactly how old she was. It was impolite to ask a lady her age after all. Eventually, though, she became much more than that. None of the players latched onto her romantically, but she kinda became like the party's motherly figure, looking after them and making sure they aren't forgetting things and offering practical advice about situations. Eventually, it became apparent that she needed to be more than just some random elven woman, and I needed an actual backstory for her that the players could discover. So I evolved her background to help explain her demeanor and willingness to help a group of people who, although unwittingly, ripped her away from her life before she met them. Aggie is an angel. Like an actual angel with wings and such, but she lost her wings as punishment for something that happened millennia ago. Her god that she served was corrupted, and she was the one that provided the ancient hero with a means to kill him. It was ultimately a good act. The corrupted god would have destroyed the world, but it didn't lessen the pain of all the other gods that loved him. Aggie was stripped of her wings, and was to live the life of a mortal for the rest of eternity. Through her actions and the actions of the party, they were able to resurrect the ancient corrupted god and cleanse him of his corruption, and Aggie was redeemed in the eyes of the gods and earned her wings back. Despite this, Aggie decided to stay amongst the mortals as she had become attached to them. Aggie has shown up in every single game we've had since, in some sort of supporting role. She makes magic items she'll gift to PCs. She'll give info on plot hooks and communicate the will of the gods to them, and assist with getting other NPCs that the players rescue to safety. She's built teleportation circles to multiple locations that the players use and offer insight and guidance on situations. My group rotates DMs, and all of us has come up with fun and interesting ways for Aggie to become involved as a secondary character to all the campaign's stories. Okay, I just have to read the title of this one too.
A man so hot he stokes the forge with his breath.
God damn it, thank you, Scorps. I made this one for an Elder Scrolls campaign. Asgeir Ashbreath, a male Nord blacksmith with ashen gray hair, a former graybeard in training, and can use the fire breath shout, was training with the Greybeards, following the way of the voice until he was called to fight on the battlefield on behest of his father. He suffered an injury in battle that left him unable to be effective in a fight or make the trip back to High Hrothgar to return to his studies with the Greybeards. Desperate to still aid his kinsmen in any way he can, he took up smithing to make and repair weapons and armor. He uses his fire breath shout to light and stoke the fires of his personal forge, making it unique. I had a few that were killed just because they were dragons or dragonborn or half-dragon. But beside that, I had one way before that, and I never really had him in a campaign. He was a character that I wrote inside one of my books called Vorel Thray. If you don't know Draconic, this means Beautiful Valley. Anyway, Salazar the Terrible. He was a red dragon that was green in color. His parents abandoned him because they thought he wasn't going to be a grand red dragon in the family line. His pride was shattered, but he learned very quickly and very stealthily how to be a real dragon. By the time he reached his first half-century, he was a guardian of sorts. Though, for his service, the villagers had to pay him their annual goods, gold and whatever other tribute he chose to take, and they'd be protected for 6 months or so. Then came a knight clad in black, bearing a shield with a golden cross on it, 4 stars in each indent of the cross. This knight was a protector to his majesty's kingdom, and when the king heard there was a dragon in the far reaches of the land, he sent this knight to slay Salazar. And long story short, Salazar and this knight are best friends now. They've seen many wars, fought in many wars, and have always protected each other from other dragons as well as other knights. So this duo of friends are inseparable, and 2 of my favorite characters that have character sheets, but I've never played them yet. Her name was Freya. She was one of a long list of NPCs who were meant to train the players in various skills. Freya was a monk, and considered battle the ultimate display of friendship. She also had a 4 intelligence score. One session we did an entire plot where the party and the entire city had their memory wiped, and the party was being framed by the villains for committing a series of crimes around town. After getting an explanation of the spell that had been used to wipe the town's memory, one of the players noticed the spell's wording worked in the group's favor. The spell only affected people with an intelligence range of the villain. Rules as written. This meant you'd have to be far more intelligent than the game allowed to be unaffected. However, my players realized that because of the wording of the spell, Freya was too stupid to have her memory affected. Thus, she should be capable of her normal displays of memory. I allowed it because it was just too good of an observation to not reward. The party went to Freya, and she revealed that not only did she remember the day everyone else had forgotten, she recorded most of it on her phone, for the Vine, after the villains bought her ice cream. The dumb NPC my party tolerated when they needed help became one of their favorites after that. So much so that when one of my players tried their hand at DMing later, they made sure Freya still existed in their world. So there are 2 that are greatly enjoyed by myself and my group. The first is Zargost, the mad fish wizard. He is the insane friend and occasional cook of the tavern my party owns. He is a lunatic whose own magic experimenting drove him insane. Unless you know him well, Everything he says sounds like insane ramblings. He casts spells via a barrel of pickled herring. Every fish is enchanted to unleash a spell on impact, and each fish has a different spell. Not even he can identify the spells, so it is fully random. Nobody dares try to rob the tavern, as nobody wants to risk the potentially devastating madness of Zargost. I love that character already. The other is a half-orc my sister and I created while punch drunk at 3 a.m., named Dick Waggler McFucknutter. I'm such a child. He is a champion barbarian who thinks he is a bard. He is terrible at music, tries to seduce by dropping trow and waggling himself at things, and gets so upset when he fails to seduce and charm, and is forced to draw his axe. He is cheerful and kind and quick to laugh, but has terrible social skills. He often acts as the bouncer of the party's tavern, carrying out the drunk and rowdy patrons, as the party convinced him that if you can't charm an aggressive patron, they are just too drunk. So he never feels bad about failing to charm bar folk because he just assumed they are wasted. In the last game I ran before it folded, I had several, but one in particular stands out. Patriarch Janus was originally the changeling in control of the Dawn Father faith in the capital, eventually turned out to be part of the Strife Emperor cult. He just started thinking up a backstory for him about being kidnapped as a child and warped by exposure to the Fey Wild as a mere babe, then returned before his family cast him out because they thought he wasn't their child. Raised as part of the cult, he had several identities until he had infiltrated the Dawnfather faith and was beginning to turn when he saw the reaction of fellow priests to changelings whom they were prejudiced against. Had this idea that a returning NPC would reveal that they knew about what happened to newborns taken into the Fey Wild and showed compassion, even trying to help them by finding a way to remove the curse they were afflicted by. However, the elven woman was the mother of the man he murdered to ensure the cult could control the puppet on the throne. For me, it would have to be Neni. I made her to prevent murder hobos, but she ended up becoming a party favorite. Did I mention that Neni is legally a weapon of mass destruction? Hey everybody, Brian Von VA here, checking in after the vid as per usual. Make sure to leave a like, to subscribe, and to ring that bell to get notified when we post or go live. And of course, if you got a story to submit to us, please do so in our subreddit r/MrRipper. Yes, we read the comments too, so you can do it down there, but I much prefer you to use the comments to say hi to us and to have a little chat with each other, because we really love that kind of interaction. Also, if you're hungry for a little bit more stories and you want a little bit more variety in terms of those stories rather than big long threads, please check us out on Riptovia. It's our secondary channel that's really, really good. And if you want to come check me out, come do so on Twitch and YouTube, Brian Von VA. Links are all in the description below. All the love, everybody. Please remember, as the year's slowly starting to come to a close, just be as safe as you possibly can. Now, we're not totally done yet. Obviously, we have some time left. But remember, love yourself, love each other, take your time, and remember, you're worth everything that people are giving you. Not the bad things. Oh, God, no. No, no, no. You're worth all the good. And if no one gives you anything good, be patient. You will get something good very soon. All the love, everybody. Be safe, be happy, and I'll see you next time. Bye for now.